Hello and welcome, everybody. Let's try this again. Last night I was doing a cast. I got through the first game and we were into the second game, and just for no reason whatsoever. No particular. I didn't click anything. I didn't try to open anything up on another window. I didn't do anything. My computer just stopped. It just was like, oh, all right, we're done. But well, you know, I can't really complain. I'm using a free Linux operating system on a more than 10-year-old PC, so I'm really quite amazed that we've managed to get it this far. But that means that every once in a while I'm going to lose about half an hour to 45 minutes of work. So we're going to remake the video. We're going to show Alchemy League Season 8. We got another couple of good sets. If you've already watched the other video, then well, and you're rewatching it, then you get to see my reinterpretation of the first game. But if you don't want to do that, if you're expecting something a little bit different, well, then know that in about half an hour there will be content that you probably haven't seen before. So you can skip ahead. But Alchemy League, what is it? It's an Age of Empires 2 competition. It is played on standard difficulty. And we try to do something a little bit different. And the theme for this season is A Million Ways to Die in the Middle Ages. And it's a little bit controversial. Some people really love it. Some people find it really frustrating. And frankly, I can see both points of view. Probably for future seasons, we'll stick to some safer ideas. So the players that we have to show you today are Chipmunk and Jasuki, and Raid versus Oladushek. So Chipmunk versus Jasuki, Raid versus Oladushek, which actually reminds me, I'm going to bring up the ratings so that you guys can see it. But I also wanted to explain that, before I do that, I wanted to explain that Alchemy League, assuming that we have players that are appropriately matched against each other, we get signups from all over the place. Generally, I would say about 1.2k to about 2.3k is about the average in terms of skill level of players that we have, which is a pretty big range for those of you who are entirely unfamiliar with Age of Empires. It basically goes from top 50% or top 55 to 60% all the way up to like top 2 or 3% of the player base. Better than that, really. So basically, we have just pretty much all of the above average players of people that play ranked Age of Empires 2 in general. And the sets are Play L2 or Play L3. They can choose. It doesn't really matter. Because at the end, we just average their wins against the win rate that they should have gotten based on the difficulty of their opponents and the number of games that they played against each opponent. And then we figure out, okay, this is how well you did. This is how well you were expected to do in terms of a percentage. So therefore, this is where you place on our final results ladder. And then the top players on the final results ladder win a prize at the end. So we'll just show you where these guys are at. So we got Jasuki down here. He's around, I guess we got a couple guys that are around 1,000 elo actually. So we got Jasuki sitting a little bit below 1,200, and then we have Chipmunk sitting a little below 1,500. So Chipmunk is from Argentina. He's been with us since Alchemy League Season 6, and Jasuki is from, well, he's currently in Spain, but I think he's from Venezuela, and he has been with us since Alchemy League Season 6 too. Both of these guys are native Spanish speakers and native to South America. In the second game, we got Oladushek. We like casting Oladushek. We like casting everybody, but Oladushek is particularly entertaining. Let's see, where is he? He's right here. So he's a little above 2k, and his opponent, Raid, is a little above 2.1k. So Oladushek is the crazy player from Belarus. He gets around. He does basically every custom map tournament that he can. And Raid is... And Oladushek has been with us for forever, since Alchemy League Season 1. And Raid is from Italy, and he is the leader of the Old School clan. So he's a powerful man. We're glad that he's here. And Raid's actually been doing pretty well, this season as well. So it should be a pretty good battle here between experience and ranked skill. I mean, specific experience with our league, and then maybe more experience with the ranked ladder. So we're going to see Rivers and Gold Rush from Chipmunk and Jasuki. And we're going to see Continental and Mongolia from Raid and Oladushek. So 4 different maps. I try to choose these matches so that we get a unique map every time. And the Civilization Draft is nothing really special. It's just the admin globally bans 5 available civilizations, and then they each globally ban 2 civilizations, and then they pick 3 and then snipe 1 and then pick 1 more. So that left Chipmunk with Japanese, Lithuanians, and Sicilians, and Jasuki was left with Romans, Koreans, and Bengalis. So, having introduced the players, the maps, and the civilizations, let's get into the first game. So minimize this, and we will change the overlay. Oops. There we go. Alright, and let me know if it freezes and the recording just crashes, and I will just throw up my hands and stop streaming, I guess, if you guys are no longer here, and then I might try remaking the video. But at that point, I would just kind of take it as a sign that it was just not meant to be, and probably not do anything. So this is our version of Rivers. How is it different? Well, I can tell you how it's not different. It's not different from other Million Ways to Die maps in the sense that it's got this tower, this fortified tower here with some outlying towers surrounding it. Now, this fortified tower, the reason that you need to know about this fortified tower, which is hard to select, there we go. It's got a random amount of health, and it has a random outer wall here. It looks like this wall happens to be fortified palisades, in this case, over regular palisades, so they just have twice the health. And what's so significant about it, and each player has one, is that if this fortified tower is destroyed, you lose. Remember, we said there were a million ways to die in the Middle Ages? So one of the victory conditions is to destroy your opponent's fortified tower. Another victory condition is that this is played on sudden death. So if you lose your town center, you die. Another victory condition is that we can see we've got a king running around here. Yeah, that's right, it's regicide. So if you lose your king, which is possible because the king is an excellent scouting unit, then you die. We have relic and wonder victory conditions enabled as well. Not that it would really ever get to a wonder because of all the other ways to die, but if somehow it did, then you could build a wonder and win that way as well. Or at least in theory you should be able to. And then finally we have a monument in the center. Now, you don't get anything from controlling the monument except a little bit of vision and a countdown timer. You don't get resources or anything. Nevertheless, the monument is also a way to win. So we haven't seen too many monument victories, actually, I don't think. Usually players just try to kill each other. The fortified tower has been pretty popular, particularly last season, or not last season, but last sprint. We didn't have these outlying towers protecting the fortified tower, so it was really easy to just run your entire economy over here and you know, run over 25 villagers, and even if you lost half of them, as long as you destroyed the fortified tower, you would still win. And we saw that a lot during Sprint 1, unfortunately. People would... Oh, because there's one more thing I wanted to mention. And this might explain why that was such a popular strategy. But you start with a petard. See this little guy running around? Yeah, that really cute little guy with the 2 barrels of gunpowder. That is a petard. And you start with him in the Dark Age. You got to be careful. He's got 25 attacks, so he could kill an unloomed villager. Not Jasuke's unloomed villager, though. Why? Because Jasuke has handicap. That's right. Jasuke starts with a 5% handicap. You can sort of see it in his stone. He must have accidentally repaired something made out of stone initially, because he's got 1 fewer stone. But Jasuke has handicap because his opponent is 300 elo higher than him. So, is the handicap going to be enough for Jasuke to win easily? Probably not, right? But it's there just to make the match a little bit more tenable. So Jasuke's got to be careful here, almost losing his petard. But anyway, the reason why the villager cheesing was easier is, let's say Jasuke had 25 villagers right here, right now. You know, he could use his petard to bust open this wall, and especially if this one fortified tower were the only tower here, then he could shank down the palisades with his remaining villagers, and then shank down the tower, and then his opponent would have to send his whole town over here to fight it off, and then Jasuke would like quick wall in the villagers with stone walls and stuff. It was a little bit triggering. So we're going to see a fast castle from both of these players. Jasuke has built a dock and he's invested in some fishing ships. Chipmunk has built a dock and invested in some fishing ships as well. And I think that we need to take some time to talk a little bit about the civilizations. Let's start with Jasuke's civilization, the Bengalis. They've got a good economy bonus in that they get 2 new villagers every time from a town center every time they go to the next stage, which is just bonkers, really. I don't even know how that is allowed, but it is. Mounted melee units. +2 attack versus skirmishers. That one, I'm not too familiar with some of these new Indian civs. Ships regenerating. Elephants ignoring bonus damage and conversion resistance. The Rathas are popular unique units of theirs. I think they're just an overall strong civilization under these settings. But the Sicilians are really what I want to talk about. Let's look at Chipmunk's bonuses here. Sicilians build fortifications 50% faster, and town centers are also built 100% faster. So what does that mean, and what is the significance of that? That means that Sicilians build castles faster than everybody else. Now, Chipmunk, last sprint of the league, here he comes to drop down a market and a blacksmith. Oh, here's a market. And he's going to build a blacksmith really soon. He just doesn't quite have the wood for it. He's going fast castle. He's already on the stone. He hasn't invested anything in feudal age military. Neither is Jasuke. Jasuke's building a market and a blacksmith as well. There it is. And Chipmunk is going to click up to the castle age. He's going over heavily on stone. Chipmunk last season was notorious for tower rushing. Notorious for tower rushing the fortified tower. That was before these additional towers are added. And Jasuke might be familiar with Chipmunk. Now, Chipmunk has not scouted his opponent very well. He doesn't necessarily see any army, but he's going to build this donjon on his stone just to keep it safe. And maybe allow himself a little bit of military from the donjon. You start with a transport ship on this map, so he sees that his opponent has walled off this choke point, but he's still not that worried. Because he can just use the transport ship to go around. Now, Jasuke also going fast castle. Jasuke, let's take a look at Jasuke's point of view. So he doesn't know what Chipmunk is up to, but he's suspicious. He sees the choice of civilization, Sicilians, and he probably believes that a castle drop is in the works. You see, Sicilians build castles faster, and if you get a castle up on your opponent's fortified tower, it's basically game over. There's no way to keep the fortified tower safe at that point. So he knows that his opponent might be going for a fortified tower attack, or a castle drop on his fortified tower. So he's got this stable here, and he's getting bloodlines, and he's heading up to the castle age. Maybe he feels that he doesn't need to go feudal age military because he's trying to wall here. The wolves are going to give him a pretty hard time, and Chipmunk has walled this off. I'm not sure what Chipmunk is doing over here. Maybe he's building a dock, but Jasuke's villager is going to go down. Luckily for Jasuke, Chipmunk is not planning on doing anything over here, or being aggressive in any way. So here's the petard from Jasuke. He's got that handy. Petards can potentially be used to deny castle drops as well. We've seen games where people have started building a castle and the petard was literally right there. And he just collided with the castle foundation and destroyed it before the player could get enough progress on it to prevent it from being cancelled. And so we've actually seen players lose all of their resources to a castle drop. So Chipmunk is actually going to come around. And there are the villagers. And here's Jasuke's petard. Jasuke ejects the elephants. And petard not here in time. But Chipmunk not expecting this. Chipmunk not expecting these elephants here. So he's got to try to decide what to do. He does build his castle faster. He's thinking, can I just power through this? I'm just going to small wall here so the elephants can't get to me. But there are towers nearby that are attacking these villagers building the castle. And the villagers decide to bail. And these elephants can't quite get in. Yeah, Chipmunk fleeing. He's got some villagers continuing to build. I mean, it's absurd. His opponent was completely prepared for this, and he still managed to get half of that castle built, which is kind of disgusting, if you want to know the truth. Like, castles should not be this easy to drop on anything in general. The reason that they are is because devs don't care, right? I mean, so what? The economic cost of building a castle. But in a situation where castle drop can win you the game like this, it's very powerful. But Jasuke successfully managing to fight this off. Maybe he's keeping the petard because he thinks that Chipmunk walled behind here. Let's check the... Yeah, he doesn't know. I mean, he's explored this. So here he comes with the petard and with his elephants. Nope, the petard is right here. So the elephants are coming across. He's like, well, okay, I built these elephants. I might as well do something with them before my opponent has the chance to regroup and try something else. So he kills something. I think it's just an enemy. Yeah, it's just this enemy unique unit. And now he's moving along to the town center, looking for the town center because this is a sudden death. So the sergeant goes down and it warns Chipmunk of what his opponent is doing. And at this point, Chipmunk is like, alright, I'm going to go back and finish that castle because I can't really stop these elephants. I mean, maybe if he built another barracks. He has a barracks out here that he could build spearmen from, and he's building a donjon over here because he does not want Jasuke attacking him. But this is Jasuke's attack right here. Jasuke's got the elephants rolling, and Chipmunk's going to come back and try and finish this castle off. Jasuke walling the back of the castle first. That's probably just an oversight. And here come these villagers now. And they're going to try to finish this castle, but Chipmunk just dies. His town center is destroyed too quickly. He's not able to finish the castle in time. So, GG, well played. It was really good from Jasuke to recognize what Chipmunk would do. Not only because of Chipmunk's history with the first sprint of the league, but also because of his civilization choice. Jasuke's like, put two and two together. It's like, increased castle building speed. Yep. Yeah. I know what's going on here. Let's take a look at the statistics. Chipmunk losing 11 villagers, 10 of them killed by Jasuki, 1 of them lost to wild animals. Jasuki lost 2 villagers to wild animals. Jasuki destroyed 1 building, and it was Chipmunk's town center, which is what won him the game. So now we're going to go on to the second game. I'm not sure why there's game 3 here. I'm not exactly sure what. Maybe this is like a backup game or something. At first, when I got it, I thought, well, okay, you know, they must have had a disconnect or something. All right, so now we're gonna load this replay. The results were recorded as though they'd played only 2 games. So we have Chipmunk now playing as the Cyan Japanese, and we have Jasuki playing as the Yellow Romans. So Jasuki, let's check his point of view to make sure that he remembered to apply the handicap. He did. I guess the handicap is only giving him 9 stone instead of 10 for whatever reason. Same situation, right? You got the fortified tower you have to protect. In this case, the monument, instead of being, you know, surrounded by some islands or something, is surrounded by a bunch of wolves and gold mines. This is Gold Rush. This one was a little bit more extensively reworked, although none of the maps are really like good polished, in my opinion, are good polished maps for Age of Empires, because we were in such a hurry to change plans and get a new set of maps out for this next season of the League. We had a bunch of people approach us with ideas and then cancel, and that always sucks. Or like, they maybe not cancel, but we had something that we wanted to do, and then somebody else had an idea, and we're like, okay, you know, let's do that, and let's, you know, it's kind of a jigsaw puzzle figuring out what to do for Alchemy League. It's by far the biggest challenge with Alchemy League is the preparation of the maps. It's not the players. The players are great. It's being able to make it worth people's while to develop commissioned maps, essentially. There are not that many people out there that are willing to do that. Usually what happens is somebody has an idea about a map, and then they make it, and they submit it, you know, to general map contests that need maps. And, you know, I don't mind doing that every once in a while, but really, if we're going to spend money on maps, we want the maps that we want, right? And that Alchemy League has had some open map contests in the past. We did an open map contest for Alchemy League Season 1. We did an open map contest for Alchemy League Season 6. And it, you know, people can generally make the maps to our requirements. Some people fail, but for the most part they can make maps to our requirements, and we can get, and you know, we can get some good solid maps that meet our needs, that people had very clear direction about how to make and what we needed. And that's a really good thing. Like, that in and of itself is a win. But that's not really what Alchemy League is known for. You know, we get good maps, but they're not connected by a centralized theme. So, in the past, the League has gone to Greece, we've gone to Alaska, we've gone to space, we've gone to the Ensemble Studios remakes, and we were able to do that because of a lot more planning. It's a lot more work to define the general characteristics that you need for a map for players, but the problem with that is people feel like they don't have as much of an opportunity to express their creativity when you do it that way. You know, part of the payment for these guys is, you know, it's a small community. You can't really offer very much money for the maps because we don't have very much. And so part of the payment is, hey, you got this idea for a map and you want to see it in action, we'll play it, but you got to do the work necessary to make it meet our needs. And that's a much easier sell than to say, you know, this is what we need. You can be creative within these boundaries, but if you're not, we're not going to use it. And that's a lot harder to get. So part of the upcoming seasons, I've done a more thorough job of organizing the maps, and we're going to try to get ahead of that, I think. it's really, and it's really not as bad as some people imagine it to be as well. We've got, you know, we're very fair, I think. People who work with us, who make maps for us, they have a good experience, but it's a little scary getting started out at first. And the other thing too is that, you know, you could make this map, and your map might be inspired on a tropical location, but we might need a place that's a temperate or a boreal location. And a lot of people don't realize, just change the trees, you know, and we can use this. I think that there's no flexibility in terms of defining the requirements either, which is not necessarily true. So overall, I'm very proud of the maps that this league has put out. I think that we've put out some of the best maps in the world, even better than some of these S-tier tournament maps. I think not all of our maps, many of our maps are not the best in the world that you see in Alchemy League, but for the most part, I think that they are. But what really sets it over the top is our ability to source from a variety of places and creators thematic map pools that are probably higher quality than a lot of the thematic map pools used by other tournaments, which are really increasingly rare. Other tournaments are not really doing, as far as I've seen, thematic map pools as often anymore, because they are not willing. So Man-at-Arms rush comes in for Chipmunk. Okay, maybe Jisuke not expecting it. He's expecting his opponent to do the same thing, and foolishly fighting it here. He lost 1. He loses 2. These are Japanese Man-at-Arms. They attack faster. You really don't want to fight them. He's probably going to lose 3 villagers. He lost at least 2 villagers from that. So other communities in the past had done more thematic map pools, but the problem is they basically say, make maps based on this location, and here's a bunch of money. And people would go out and they would make, you know, 30 maps among 30 different creators, and they would choose the 10 that they wanted. And those 20 people would pound salt. And they got pretty mad. They were like, hey man, you know, what's going on? This is all just a point of view. Chipmunk, I'm not really sure what this forward villager is all about. But it's going to reduce Chipmunk's villager lead by 1. So, our commission maps are procured a lot more fairly, I would say. You know, it's a process that's a lot more inclusive. Jisuke small walling in these villagers. These Man-at-Arms have run a reign of terror across Jisuke's base. They took him off of berries, and now he's got to pay attention to this gold, which he is not looking forward to. Luckily, it seems his opponent didn't find this location, but he's going to abandon the gold mine. So anyway, if you are hearing my long-winded speech, not talking about the details of Chipmunk's Man-at-Arms rush probably as much as I should be, and you have some programming ability, or you want to learn how to make random map scripts in Age of Empires, or you already know how to make random map scripts in Age of Empires, let me know, because we are always looking for help making random maps in Age of Empires 2 to use for our custom map competitions. So I'm not really sure where Jisuke is going with all of these villagers. He's got a wood line right here. Maybe he's going to go and build another wood line next to his towers. That would actually kind of make sense, right? He's got a villager here. Jisuke is on his way up to the castle age. He's done a Roman fast castle. He has 3 farms. Chipmunk has done a Man-at-Arms build. Now, Chipmunk is also going into archers, so he's got a forward villager. He's walled out that wolf. So maybe that's what the villager over here was up to, is she was supposed to build an archery range, but she got eaten by wolves. And so he's doing Man-at-Arms into archers, and he's going to use feudal pressure to just throttle Jisuke. Now, Jisuke has built a blacksmith. You need a blacksmith in order to build a siege workshop. And you also need a blacksmith to click up to the castle age, actually. He's got a market. Yeah, these are his buildings. So he is in the Castle Age now, and he is building that siege workshop. And the funny thing is that Chipmunk doesn't know about it. It's actually not within his vision radius. So Chipmunk's just going to come along. He's going to happily wall here. This map is pretty easy to wall. But the disadvantage is that your gold is a little bit harder. Right? He's got... Although in this case he's actually got 2 back golds. And Jasuke has his main gold here, back gold here, and he actually might be missing the other gold too. A lot of these maps are old maps. Yeah, I don't see it. It's probably not gonna matter too much. Does Jasuke actually know about this gold back here? He does. He did find it, so he could have gone over there. But instead he's actually just going to take his opponent's gold. And Jasuke has this spearman running through the wolves for a wolf rush, which I think is pretty hilarious. And he clicks it into Chipmunk's town. I don't know if the spearman's going to make it. It's got to go all the way around this big forest. Chipmunk has done a decent job of walling off this region here. Hey, Oladushek, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Alright, we'll see. We've actually seen somebody wolf rush before on this map. It's pretty entertaining. I forget who the players were. But the unfortunate thing about this wolf rush is that sometimes, you know, your spearman dies right underneath the town center and then the wolves just get shot. You want to lead the wolves to the wood line if you can. Your opponent, it's like drushing your opponent, really. And Jasuke just needs to come out just a little bit. Come on, Jasuke. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, yeah. Chipmunk sees it coming, and unfortunately for Chipmunk... Oh, fortunately for Chipmunk, the wolves don't see these villagers. That must have been really scary. So Chipmunk quick walling out the wolf rush, and at the same time, Jasuke using that wolf rush as a distraction, and he's gonna move in with some rams, and he's got a scorpion here, a Roman scorpion. So Chipmunk doing what he has to do. He's actually gonna villager charge this scorpion. Not quite enough siege here before springing the trap. I think it was close though. Yeah, Chipmunk's gonna fight this off, unfortunately for Jasuke, but it was a nice try. I just think he dove in before he had quite enough. It's 4 or 5 scorpions, and he would have been okay. Looks like he's going to go back to work. Meanwhile, these archers have taken Chipmunk off of... Or these Chipmunk's archers have taken Jasuke off of wood. So this could explain some of his economic difficulties. Although Jasuke has rebuilt a wood line here, next to a tower, which I suggested earlier. Alright, so Chipmunk has built a defensive siege workshop of his own. He has reached the Castle Age, and he's making a mangonel, which is really smart. Jasuke making some more scorpions. Once the mangonel comes out, it'll just flatten scorpions, though. Chipmunk's has not bothered repairing his town center, actually. Here's the mangonel. I don't know if Jasuke actually killed any villagers with that. It was a very expensive attack. And there's 1 unit in this town center. Jasuke has no economy in his town center at all. It's just 2 man-at-arms and 4 archers. These other 2 archers are prowling around to make sure he's not secretly taking resources somewhere else. The only thing in this town center is the king. Not that that really matters very much, because if the town center goes down, Jasuke will lose anyway. His king doesn't need to die. So he's on wood, he's on gold, and Jasuke has made a mangonel, and I think all he needs, his win condition... Oh! I couldn't tell. It looks like that villager managed to get away. So Chipmunk is having to fight these wolves eventually. And I think it's over for Jasuke. He's got 13 villagers left. Chipmunk with 32 villagers. And this Mangonel is going to come and siege his town center. Or his siege workshop, rather. Doesn't need to siege the town center. He's got some man-at-arms and some archers attacking it instead. Jasuki's petard. He forgot about the petard. Jasuki calling the GG. Maybe the petard could have made a difference. You know, if he had had like 1 or 2 more rams and he used the petard, it's possible that he could have defeated Chipmunk. But Chipmunk gutted Jasuki's economy, and I think Jasuki pulled the trigger too soon over here in attacking Chipmunk as well. But the Wolf Rush was very creative and a good distraction. Let's take a look at the statistics. Jasuki destroyed 3 buildings and lost 2 of his own. Killed 23 units, lost 13. So Chipmunk tying it up for a 1-1 set. Jasuki was first to Castle Age. Chipmunk was first to Feudal Age. Yeah, Jasuki had like a 4.5 minute advantage over Chipmunk Feudal Age, but it cost him. He lost map control because he didn't have a feudal presence. Alright, and now we're going to cast Oladushek versus Raid. Before I do that, though, I just want to point out the Civilization draft. So we've completed Chipmunk versus Jasuki. That was a good set. And so keep in mind that Raid and Oladushek are drafting for Continental and Mongolia. Continental will be a kind of a frustrating map, I think. It was never really a fair map to begin with, and under these conditions it could be even less fair. Alright. So we'll go to the overlay now. So Continental Mongolia for Raid and Oladushek. And the admin globally banned Lithuanians, Turks, Burgundians, Malians, and Franks. And then they each globally banned 2 civilizations. So Mongols, Dravidians, Japanese, and Georgians are out. And then they picked 3, snipe 1, and then picked 1 more. And that left Raid with Bengalis, Hindustanis, and Italians. And Oladushek with Armenians sniped. His choices are Slavs, Berbers, and Britons. Ooh, Britons! Maybe we'll see Oladushek do something with Britons. Alright. Game 1. Continental. Actually, yes, we will see him play Britons. Let's go. Alright. Let's change the overlay again. So guys, remember this is around 2K that this play is at. I guess this one doesn't look too bad. Monument is kind of in a reasonably accessible location, although this channel here is kind of an advantage for Oladushek. It is harder for Raid to get over here. I'm not really sure why that is either, too. There should be a connection generation that adds a shallow crossing here. That's very unusual. Raid's tower is here. Raid's town center is here. You kind of got these land masses, sort of very organic. That's a characteristic of Continental. Raid trying to get over here to Oladushek's tower complex with his king, but can't. So Raid's going to be pushing through the center, I think. Or Raid might be able to do a secret tower, not tower, but transport ship action over here. But then he's got to make a transport ship. And to do that, he needs a dock. He probably is going to be docking anyway. So Oladushek is at around 6 o'clock. He's playing as the Red Britons. And Raid is at noon, and he's playing as the Blue Bengalis. Bengalis are very popular. I think the reason Bengalis are popular is because you can't boom. Bengalis get those sweet, sweet 2 extra villagers every time that they, from a town center, every time they advance to the next stage. So by Castle Age, Raid could be 4 villagers ahead. And that could be part of the reason why he likes the Bengalis here. They've got a good unique unit that can trade between range and melee. It's some kind of chariot type unit. Raid takes the boar. Muscle memory kicking in, and Raid not able to kill this boar with the town center. I mean, he could, but it's not in his muscle memory to do so. So Oladushek is checking out his opponent's town, or he's kind of headed in that direction. He needs to be careful, because if Oladushek comes over here with his king, and Raid builds a wall across this narrow channel, Oladushek could potentially get stuck. And he doesn't want that. So it makes a lot of sense for Oladushek to kind of scout out his opponent with the Petard. The Petard is an excellent counter to the castle drop, as I mentioned before. So you want to try to keep the Petard alive. You can also use him to just break into your opponent's wall early, if necessary. We see that Raid is docking. Oladushek, no dock. Oladushek only has 4 on wood, actually, which is somewhat unusual. He's building a mill here. This is a good mill location. He sees that there are deer here, and that's what he's going for. He will also presumably take this boar, but he doesn't really need it right now. He's got all of these sheep, and as Britons, it's like sheep evaporate underneath Briton shepherds. So I don't think he's too worried about the boar, but he's still going to send a villager to get it anyway. Or maybe she's a...
Ready.
Actually, from the waypoint, she kind of looks like a deer hunter.
Yay.
Yeah, he's going to go on sheep for a little while. I don't see any docking activity from Oladushek. Uh-oh. So Oladushek is over here with his king. Raid has not walled him in yet. And he needs to be careful. So Raid is going to see Oladushek's king pretty soon. Yep, there. Sees him. So Raid could go to wall. And Raid is sending a villager to the berries. I don't think he's going to wall yet. He may not have seen it. I don't know. It was just visible for a short period of time. But if I were Raid and I saw that, I'd be like, oh, you know, time to wall everything up, and then I'll kill that king with scouts later on. Oladushek's king continues along his meandering scouting path. So, 5 villagers on wood, and Oladushek is on stone. Very early on. He's taking his stone here underneath the safety of his tower. Sometimes this neutral location can have a few resources, like it's got some berries and some stones under it. This one has some gold underneath it. So Oladushek with a very unorthodox, it looks like a feudal age, a quick feudal age from, well, Raid's actually the first one to click up to feudal age, and he's Bengalis. I'm not really sure what Oladushek is doing, if you want to know the truth. I gotta just be honest with you. I don't see a dock from Oladushek, and it's blowing my mind. What could Oladushek be up to? Okay, he has clicked up to the feudal age first, but he has clicked up to the feudal age now, but Raid clicked up first. Alright, let's see what Raid knows of Oladushek's town. Alright, Raid is he going to kill this deer with it? Oh. Alright, they have loom, which is unfortunate for Raid. Sometimes if they don't have loom, you can just kill them. Raid kind of going around back here, checking out his opponent's town. He may have seen the deer hunters, but he knows that Oladushek is going to be somewhere around in here. And Oladushek's understanding of Raid's map is pretty good. Oladushek has scouted out where the tower is. He scouted out approximately where his opponent's town is. And Raid is going fast castle. He's building a market. Oladushek feudal age. And Raid is building a blacksmith. And Oladushek is building a market and a blacksmith as well. So this almost looks like castle drop race.
Mandaten?
Oladushek is on stone because he desires a castle. Neither player has been aggressive in the feudal age, which somewhat surprises me. I would have expected Oladushek to try and go archers, or at least maybe boats, and mess with his opponent's fishing economy. And I think Raid was expecting that too, because Raid only made 2 fishing ships. Maybe Raid just wanted a lightning-fast advancement, but here comes Raid. He's going over to the stone, and so Raid's thinking about a castle.
Ready. Mandaten?
And Oladushek gonna stonewall this off because he does not want Raid castle dropping him. He sees that there's no aggression from Raid so far, and he thinks that maybe Raid is going castle age and is going for a castle. So therefore he stonewalls this. Now, this isn't gonna necessarily keep Raid out. In fact, Raid has made a transport ship. So this stonewall actually isn't going to do anything. But we can tell that Raid is definitely considering a surprise castle drop. Actually, Raid can see these stone walls from the monument that he controls. So he's actually using the monument to benefit. Does Oladushek know about that transport ship? He does not. As far as I can tell, Oladushek has no idea that this castle drop is coming via sea. He's out here with a house. And here comes Raid. Here comes Oladushek. So Oladushek is now going to see these villagers approach. Oladushek has just gotten a range upgrade. And he's deleting palisades at the base of his tower so that he can repair it. But I think it's too late. Oladushek planning his own castle drop on Raid. It's a race to see who can finish their castle first. But I think that it will be Raid. With the sneaky transport ship and superior Bengali economy. And the fortified tower for Oladushek is about to go down. He's repairing to keep it alive, but I don't think he can. His castle goes up. Raid's tower is under attack. Wait, what? Okay. It looked like this fortified tower was about to go down, and Oladushek just barely getting edged out by Raid in the race for the castle drop. It's unfortunate that seems to be that's the prevailing strategy now, to just drop a castle on your opponent's tower now that you can't village or rush it. But that's what the players determined they needed to do in order to win. Let's take a look at the statistics. 3 units killed for Oladushek and 2 lost. I believe these were just and for Raid it was 2 killed and 4 lost. And these were just villagers that were building castles. Economies similar. Oladushek has more food, Raid had more wood collected, Oladushek with more stone collected, Raid with more gold collected, so Raid bought his castle. Raid with better advancement times, slightly. And 1 castle from each of them. Raid with slightly more villagers. Alright, Mongolia. Monument in the center, Turkish-style monument. We've got fortified tower surrounded by stone wall. No, fortified wall this time. We have Raid playing as the blue Hindustanis, and Oladushik playing as the red Slavs. So this map is pretty unchanged from the vanilla, I think. Mongolia is known for its vast... I don't necessarily know if vast is the right word. I mean, it is vast. But it's known for its cliffs. Extensive cliffs. Extensive might be a better word. Big forests. It's generally an easy map to wall. It's a very boomy, campy map. But in this case, there is no booming because it's sudden death. So you can only have one town center. Oladushik has chosen an excellent place to build a starting lumber camp. Let's take a look at their maps, actually. Raid's got... His gold is kind of off to the side. His stone is in the back. He's got another stone forward, but who knows? It could be a neutral stone. There's another stone forward here on the other side, sort of favoring his opponent. It looks like it doesn't really... Nothing really stands out to me in terms of map advantage or disadvantage. Let's talk about these civilizations. Well, Hindustanis have that armored elephant. It's pretty good at chiseling its way through fortified walls, or stone walls, or just buildings in general. Not so good against units or anything like that, but we have seen Raid use it to great effect in previous casts. So it could be that Raid is thinking he will go Castle Age and he will siege rush his opponent's tower. Oladushik brings in a boar. Now, Oladushik is Slavs, and Slavs are known for their cheaper siege weapons and infantry pushes. Their farmers work faster. They get arson and gambesons for free, and their monks are faster. So Slavs are known for being an infantry and siege and monk crawling civilization. I think excellent under normal circumstances for a map like this. I would give Slavs a much better score. I think that they are a better civ on this map in general under normal circumstances. But, you know, it's sudden death, it's tower sudden death, it's regicide, it's all of these different win conditions, right? So, Oladushik managing to save that villager. So you never know, Raid might surprise us. He might think of something with the Hindustanis that none of us considered. This is a pretty distant deer lure, actually. Wow. I'm thinking both of these players will go fast castle again. Oladushik is 18 pop. I guess if you wanted to get in, and do early damage to your opponent, an 18-19 pop Scouts Rush could probably still achieve that. Especially if you believe that your opponent is not going to wall aggressively. And actually, Oladushik is on his way up to the Feudal Age at 18 pop. Especially because you start with the Petard. So the Petard could potentially get into your opponent's base. He could, like, your opponent could be walled, and that Petard could blow open a hole in the wall. And then your people just rush in, your scouts or whatever you've made from going early to the Feudal Age. You start with a barracks, and it looks like Oladushik is taking advantage of that. He's got a militia here, and he's making another militia. So is Oladushik going to go like this lightning men-at-arms? He's making a third militia. So the more of these militia that he makes, in my opinion, he's got 2 on gold, Oladushik does. So the more militia that he makes, the more likely it is to be man-at-arms, because it's more cost-effective. So he's making a 4th militia, and I think that'll be it. I think he's going to get 10 more gold, and then as soon as he hits the Feudal Age, he's going to get the man-at-arms upgrade in addition to his other economic upgrade. So he's got his king here, keeping an eye on things, and he's going to click the man-at-arms upgrade, And the king is going to be very annoying, and it's going to block this villager. That is very annoying. And he gets a villager pick off right there. So I think Raid is a little bit surprised by that. Or maybe he's not. Maybe Raid knows Oladushik very well. And knows that Oladushik does all kinds of stuff. So Oladushik here in the feudal age, wreaking some havoc. And he's making another man-at-arms, actually. He's housed. And Raid is critically not on gold, which is something that you sort of need to do the Castle Age. Let's take a look at Raid's resources. Alright, so Raid's economy is somewhat set up for Fast Castle. He's got a big lump sum of food. And here's his market. He's probably going to build a blacksmith like right here or something. No, he's going to build it here. Market blacksmith for Raid. So Raid going Fast Castle again. And Oladushik here with the man-at-arms knocking on the door, trying to destroy this mill. Raid has just pushed in another deer with his king. So he pushed in these distant deer first. And then he pushed in another deer, and he's going to keep pushing in. So deer are great for getting some food for Fast Castle. And Oladushik is knocking on the door with Slavic man-at-arms. He's keeping an eye on these gold miners, so he sees these gold miners with his king, and he sends his man-at-arms over to drive them away. I think. These man-at-arms are working on the mill, which Raid has to keep repaired. I'm not really sure why Oladushik is allowing Raid to take gold here. Maybe he's not that worried about it. Raid is on his way up to the Castle Age. Oh, he's got a couple of villagers coming forward. Oladushik does. Oladushik is not in the Castle Age. He's not anywhere near the Castle Age. Check his resources. He's got a tower coming down. Yeah, Oladushik is not going to be clicking up to the next age anytime soon. So Oladushik, seeing that his opponent is not militarily able to really defend this area, he's going to build the tower here instead, which is a much more aggressive tower location. Alright, so Raid is on his way up to the Castle Age, but he's housed. He's sent off 2 villagers, presumably to try and find Oladushik's tower, maybe? Yeah. So these 2 villagers are here to find Oladushik's tower, maybe, and drop a siege workshop on it. He doesn't have the resources for really anything else, but he's been diligent about pushing in the deer because they give him food, and you need food to build the siege elephant. So Raid gonna scout with the king. It's a little bit safer. He's checking over here because he thinks that his opponent's fortified tower might be in this location, but not quite. Meanwhile, Oladushik rampaging through Raid's town, or around Raid's town, with some man-at-arms. He's almost destroyed the market, which actually will be a pretty big annoyance for Raid. Raid will have to potentially rebuild that market, but Raid finds the tower here, and he's building a siege workshop. So can Raid get these siege elephants out in time to defeat Oladushik, who is throttling his economy? Raid has very little map control right now, and no market. Let's see, Raid has queued up the armored elephants, and presumably he's going to set a gather point on the siege workshop itself, or somewhere back here, and then he's going to rush in when he has enough armored elephants. Oladushik knows, though. He seems to be wise to it. He's headed back. Let's check Oladushik's point of view. Can he see something now? Yes. He can. Oladushik somehow maybe got town watch. He's sending the villagers too. Just for good measure. I mean, they're only armored elephants, and these are fortified walls. Oladushik not taking any chances, though. Here come the elephants. He's afraid of the elephants. We got wolves joining the fray, too. Raid sending some villagers forward. The armored elephants are pretty tanky. But I think that they're going to go down. These are fortified walls. Not likely that the elephants get through. And Oladushik building a house here. And Raid says, you did well, GG. So Raid getting a... Raid Well, he tried. He tried the elephants, but Oladushek was too wise to it. He took too much damage. It also didn't help Raid that these are fortified walls, so much harder to get through. I think Oladushek also got Town Watch, just you know, because he's like, okay, my opponent should not be this easy to kill. What's going on? You know, if this opponent is 100 elo higher than Oladushek, and let's just see, yeah, he got Town Watch. He intentionally got Town Watch because it's kind of suspicious. He's like, there's no way that I should be steamrolling my opponent this easily. You know, he's got to be up to something else. He went fast castle. What's the plan? And maybe he kind of knew, okay, you know, Raid has this strategy where he likes to go armored elephants and charge people's towers, so we got to keep an eye out for that. Let's get Town Watch. And sure enough, that's what happened. So, you know, well played from Oladushek this game. That last game, they both went for the same strategy, and Raid just barely managed to kind of out-edge Oladushek with a little bit of a surprise and a combination of Bengali economy. But this game, Oladushek, he really earned the win on this one, I think. So, GG. It's not to say Raid didn't earn the win in the first game. I definitely think he did. That transport ship was a great idea. The civilization and the eco bonuses from Bengalis really worked well in his favor to be able to do that. And it was pretty close. Oladushek with 3 kills, one death. And I think these are villager kills. Well, one of them I think was an armored elephant. Oladushek with a bigger economy. Better feudal age time from Oladushek. Better castle age time from Raid. Like 13.5 minutes from Raid because he's really good at pushing in deer. Oladushek with a bigger economy, larger villager high, and a dominant timeline. So guys, that's going to be it from me today. I think it was a pretty good cast for Alchemy League Season 8. I'm sorry for all of the technical difficulties. I didn't cast on Sunday because I was sick. I tried the casting yesterday, but my computer crashed. So I'm glad that we were able to get it figured out and get that cast released today. I really appreciate if you took time to view. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'm not prepared to make any announcement yet on what we're doing, but for next season of the league, let's just say that we're going to do something a little bit more standard and a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more in line, I should say, with the traditional Age of Empires that we know and love. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and for everybody that plays, makes maps for us, does anything to help us out. Thank you, and I will see you guys again soon. Have a great day.